I waited with the bread he said wouldn't rise. The alert blinked on our shared calendar at 9:14 a.m. Sourdough night 7:00:11:00:11 plus folds plus bake. I looked at it long enough to taste flour in the back of my throat, and then the event vanished, as if the day had realized it had promised beyond its means. 2 minutes later, a text from Ian. Mixer's down, steam injector sulking. I'll skip it and come home early, Thai or tacos. Read, I thumbed back Thai. Turned the phone face down on the lighting plot I keep threatening to finish, and tried not to rehearse the phrase organize the patience inside my mouth. We've been together 7 years. Ian rotates through careful trades the way other people rotate playlists. A winter of letterpress, a spring of bicycle hubs, a summer convincing violins to behave, and since last year, bread at the night shift bakery 2 neighborhoods away, where morning starts at 1 a.m. He comes home dusted with flour and good intentions, his hair carrying the steam of a decision, his voice rearranged into a tempo that makes my pulse try harder. He says things I can use in rooms that don't have ovens. Don't punish an elastic for telling you the truth. Water is an invitation. Organization is a form of mercy. We had a plan that didn't ask either of us to be brave. Thai, the dumb heist series we refused to abandon bed. At 5:46 p.m., though the bakery posted a story, the mixer back online, a hotel pan of leaven bubbling like a polite crowd, a rack of bannetons dusted like new planets, and a person I recognized by posture and gray at the temples even in silhouette, Louis, scraping dough off a bench with the reverence of someone returning a promise. Overlay text. Steam is friendly. We're Owen, bring patient hands. If they're open, we could swing by and say hi, I tried, wearing a voice with no agenda like a shirt I hadn't earned. For me it's off, Ian said, not unkind, chopping cilantro with the focus he uses when he's choosing not to argue with himself. I don't have good hands tonight. Which could have been about gluten or about us. Got it, I told the cutting board. The part of me that calls itself prudence tied its boots in a knot meant to come undone. At 6:32 I stood in the light behind the bakery, composing the sort of administrative lie that only comforts the sender. Freight landed early. Running to sign at the museum, I wrote. He sent a thumbs up. Reasonable emoji deserve better men. Inside, the bakery breathed. The mixers hummed like whales that had decided to be municipal. The oven doors wore their heat like a rumor. The bench was a long argument with a happy ending. 2 taped signs above the wash sink said don't punish dough for telling the truth and flour is a tool, not a band-aid. Ian arrived at 6:49 with his tote, the line WANTS air, and he wasn't alone. He walked with Louis in that way people walk with someone who knows where the step is, the practiced half-body of space that doesn't count as flirting until it does. He saw me and did that 2-heartbeat step back, his small sabirolo of hesitation, then set a smile between us like a coaster. I nodded as if coasters were my craft. Tonight is ordinary, said Marta, the lead, clapping once. Leaven in autolyze folds every 30, divide, pre-shape, bench rest, shape, proof, and if the gods love us a bake or 2 before midnight. Rules, flour with purpose. Water is invitation, don't chase a window pane with your ego. And if you need to gossip, not near the oven. If you need to sneeze, not near the oven. The room's laugh sounded like relief that gravity had been reinstalled. I followed Ian with my eyes. He slid a hotel pan of water onto the scale like a person setting down an argument he wanted to keep. He poured, and the flour studied his kindness and accepted, and the leaven decided it didn't mind being asked. Louis passed him a dough hook and then stepped back and then did nothing, because sometimes the best help is leaving a gesture alone. Jealousy rose like a badly trained dog I keep meaning to adopt out. I gave it a job. I weighed flour with an attention that didn't try to be love. I lined bannetons with linen like I felt sorry for gravity. I fetched a bowl scraper for the teenager who had rinsed hers out of existence. First fold, Marta called, and everyone's hands learned their names. Ian slid his wet hand under the mass and lifted the corner over itself like persuasion that remembered not to preach. The dough exhaled and agreed to become a paragraph. Lewis asked nothing out loud. He moved his hand an inch to the left and made the same argument without commentary. Every 30, Marta said. No heroics. At the break, paper cups of coffee pretending not to be a drug, a tub of pretzels that tasted precisely like continuing, Ian drifted toward me. You came, he said, no blade in it. I heard observation is already half alignment, I said, stealing from another craft. Also, you lied. Your wrists look fine. Mixer ditched its tantrum, he said. His mouth tried for casual and failed. And I wanted to be the version of me that learns without writing you a report. Also, his glance touched Lewis and then the bench. It's not the worst thing to let someone else correct my pressure. He has certain hands. Some phrases are small and live forever. I unfolded the passport truth I'd brought for this exact border. I was afraid you'd get used to a good job that wasn't mine. Ian set his palm on the bench the way he sometimes sets it on our kitchen table when he wants to quiet more than furniture. Stay, he said, no theater, some mercy. But be a student. If Marta asks what folding is, don't say making it strong. Say making the path available. Can you do that? I can try, I said, my yes with guardrails. The second half began the way second halves should. Somebody handed me a tool I hadn't earned. Want to scrape and pre-shape with me? Lewis asked, crooking a finger. He slid a bench knife my way and set a lump of dough in front of me with a thump that wasn't punishment. Scrape, turn, tuck, no speeches. He did it once. I did it wrong. Too much apology in your hands, he said, not unkind. Let the bench do the sticking and the unsticking. You do the invitation. I invited. The dough believed me a little. A round emerged that could one day be responsible. It sat like a patient moon on a dusted bench and did not file a complaint. We covered the rounds and let them breathe. Bench rest, Marta said. Don't rush the part where you don't get credit. Want a shape? Lewis asked when the rounds had finished their private interview with time. He set his hands like an answer he didn't need me to memorize. Pull the top down, roll, tuck. Be generous with the seam. I pulled, I rolled, I tucked. My first loaf was a bad argument. My second loaf was a person trying to be polite. My third admitted it wanted to be bread. Across the room, Ian was letting a kid overdust the bench and learn about slickness by falling on it. The kid learned anyway. It made me jealous and it made me stay. Quick exercise, Marta called after the second fold. She uses the tone of a person who has taught toddlers and professionals and respects both. On a piece of parchment or on your phone, write one sentence for tomorrow. Not about bread, about you. It has to describe you without nomming you. She doesn't collect them. We're adults. We get to keep our homework. Ian wrote in small, neat caps, "Don't tighten me so much. I open by myself." Lewis wrote, "I prepare the air." I wrote, "I am learning to make the path available without proving I know the way." A woman who had kept chasing window panes wrote, "I can stop when the line is breathing." The teenager wrote, "I don't have to flower and why fear." Marta tapped each sentence with her fingernail like a little bell. The oven decided not to hate us. We loaded 4 loaves onto the stone with the peel like someone solving a quiet problem. Steam kissed the door like a compromise. The room smelled like the right kind of proof. 12, then turn, Marta said. We pretended to have invented time. Outside, the alley had the kind of quiet that isn't a verdict. You lied, Ian said, no knife in it. Poorly, I said. I could have said I was scared, that your knight might have a life that doesn't need me. Tell me about Lewis without poetry. He proposes and then steps out, Ian said. He doesn't collect debts. Stepping out, I repeated, and the phrase tasted like cinnamon. He took my hand inside his jacket pocket, which is how he keeps me warm when I'm pretending I'm fine. At home, we put three things on the table: our parchment sentences and a printed card where Marta had written organization is a form of mercy in the careful handwriting of someone who has trusted trays. Let's write a house service sheet, I said. 5 lines, a staff. We don't have to sing in tune. Ian found a pen and didn't turn it into a metaphor. We wrote, if the calendar blinks, we talk. We don't let the bakery decide our honesty. If a place outside makes us more alive, we show the other the door and say where the tea is and where the steam is not. Jealous means look closer, not hunt a fault. If one of us climbs onto his mezzanine, the other puts a tool in his hand. A bench knife, a phrase, a banneton, and a time to breathe. Once a week we hang something that breathes, image, label, sentence, without explaining it until we read it out loud together. In the weeks after, I learned the difference between flour that helps and flour that hides. I learned not to chase a window pane as if gluten owed me proof. I learned that folding is less a show and more a vote. Lewis showed me how to let the bench do the work I keep trying to make my hands do. Marta taught me that preheating an oven is a ceremony, not a dare. Ian lent me his useful silence, the kind that keeps my hands from apologizing when what they need to do is adjust. I don't pretend bread can fix what sentences break. We weren't broken, just poorly tempered. Edges too tight, proofs too long, compassion pointed at the wrong God. The bench taught me to wait. The banneton taught me to leave something alone. The oven taught me that heat is not proof, it is invitation. Justify, a word from the museum, went back to being page direction. Give the line room so it holds. Last night Ian slid our parchment under the magnet strip above the sink. Across from them I taped a photo Lewis had taken of 4 loaves cooling on a rack, their ears proud without college degrees. The dog, the hyphen between us, walked through the kitchen like a professional separator of lines. We left the window open. May leaned in with a yes. Silence while the crumb decides, Ian said, stealing shamelessly from Marta. Standing by, I answered. Summary minus the sermon. Don't confuse pressure with proof. Water is already help. Jealousy behaves when you give it a job. Stepping out isn't abandonment. Making the path available isn't domination. And the same loaf, offered by different hands, doesn't tell one story but stories that hold each other up. Tonight the calendar box is actually white. That means tie, nothing compulsory, try again tomorrow. Ian rinses the bench knife. I fold the towel. The dog checks the table legs like a repair person who knows when things are fine. Between the photo and our sentences I stick a small label. Here we make the path available without proving it. Ian adds another. Here we say thank you. The kitchen breathes like a small bakery practicing being home. I don't slice the ending. I let it cool, then hold. That's enough.